Milo Ventimiglia on This Is Us. It is back, and he joins us now on the big screen. Hello, Milo.
What's up, brother?
Oh, what's up, kid? What's up, Scott? How are you guys?
Well,
good.
We are good, and we are so excited for the show coming back. We're old friends. Just go and tell Scott and me, like, what happens? What's going on with Jeff?
Premiere episode, come on.
He's dead, he's alive, stuff's going down.
I mean, there was so much that we left off with, so we're going to have to address a whole lot. And the world has gone through quite a bit, so we're going to have to address some of that. But I think ultimately, you know, the world and what we're all experiencing the last several months, I think could use a nice dose of the Pearsons at this moment.
I hear that.
You know what else? And
love.
the acoustic. We need that acoustic guitar to come in. It's going to bring the tears.
Yeah.
That one Sterling came
Yeah, Sid Costa, man. I mean, it's so funny. It's like, you know, we perform the scenes, we do all that, and we have to drum up our own emotions. But then when the score comes in, I watch it as the audience. I'm like, oh man, I'm a wet mess.
It's funny because we get to see the big three in various stages of their lives in this show. Based on the scripts that you've seen so far, are we going to be seeing more of the little three?
I love when y'all do that.
I don't know just yet. I think so those are the littles, but then we have another one underneath them. We've got the 5-year-olds, but these guys, who are now 12.
Right.
Wow.
When we first started, they were just barely 8. Now they're 12. Like the boys, Mackenzie, like they're all grown up. It's crazy. I feel like a father, you know, watching your kid grow up. But we do have quite a bit with the littles, we call them, and I think we may have some with the tinies. Teens will be back. They're all back. Every iteration of the big three is going to be around.
Well, we ended last season with that feud between Randall and Kevin. Are we going to see a little more synergy? It just left us feeling, ugh.
You have to. You know, I mean, listen, both those characters have such an impact to the broader voice of what the show is about. And, you know, I think those are two incredibly complicated men who have such deep hearts for their families, for the world, for themselves. And, you know, we can't keep them at odds for too long, but it's the same song and dance, I think, with a lot of different families and a lot of struggle. You know, sometimes there are things that go so far back in history, of a family history, and to reconcile them isn't as simple. So I think give the Pearson boys, the Pearson men, a little bit of time, and hopefully they'll find their way back with the help of their sister.
Okay. All right. I see you, Papa Pearson.
I like that. Papa Bear's coming up.
Kit and I have talked about this.
I try.
Kit and I have talked about this a couple of times. We love how when real life stuff has to be hidden in a show, your wife, Mama Pearson, Mandy Moore, is pregnant.
I'm so excited.
How are they? Like, in a Scandal, they hid Kerry Washington's behind purses and bags and couches. What are they going to do with Mandy Moore?
Well, the good news is, I mean, we can play out the storylines where Rebecca's pregnant, which is great, which is actually such a fun time. I know for Mandy and I that we like to play is that post-romance, baby's on the way, baby's being born, all of that. So I know that's part of some of the plan, the trajectory for the characters for this season, but also camera trickery. You know, there's ways to hide it and whatnot. But I think given her due date, it's going to be pretty interesting and close to see just how much her belly grows. But we're all excited. We're all super excited. I mean, you know, she's my TV wife. So when she told me and told a lot of us that she was pregnant, it was a really proud, exciting moment for her, Taylor. It was just two people that really should be parents.
Yeah.
How has your summer been, Milo? You're still taking incredible pictures. Has this been a nice little break for you before quarantine hit?
You know, I was a couple days away from my Evel Knievel project, and then we took a pause, and so I got out on the road a little bit and tried to see some things. Yeah, there you go. That was Snake River in Twin Falls, Idaho, which Evel Knievel had at one point shot over in a rocket. That was New Mexico. You know, I try to get out and see the world a lot. regardless of what's going on in the world, just trying to experience different things. And this year, it all happened to be really domestic, you know, driving around and safely seeing family and just trying to take advantage of the time off. You know, like I got to keep myself, my creative mind spinning, even though, you know, I had to stay safe and stay away and stay home and masked and all that. But, you know, for me, I'm always trying to see the world, get a different point of view, different perspective, and hopefully share it, you know, share what I learned with everybody else.
Well, sit tight right there, Milo. If you can, put on your Evel Knievel jumpsuit, because I got to get a visual of that. But we come back much more with Milo, talking about all his great roles. Back in a minute. I forgot about this.
Milo Ventimiglia with Fergie in Big Girls Don't Cry. When she put the hand on the freshly tattooed chest, you looked over at Fergie kind of like, yeah, girl, you feel it. You feel it.
You like what you see?
You like what you see?
You said Fergalicious.
You know, actually, Anthony Mandler, the director, gave me a little bit of different direction on that one. But I mean, what fun. That was such a blast. She remains one of the coolest folks I've come across in this business. And, you know, that was one day of filming. I think in between Heroes, while I was on Heroes, I was doing that. But yeah, she's great. And I crossed paths with her then husband, Josh Duhamel, and he kind of gave me a strong look, knowing that I had a kissing scene with his then wife. So yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah. Wait, do you have any tattoos? Any actual tattoos?
No. Actually, funny enough, I did. I had a couple just from like growing up, but I had them all taken off.
Interesting. I like that.
I want to ask.
By the way,
what?
Scott had a big tree. It's supposed to be like a fig tree. Now it's a tiny little twig.
Yeah,
he got like one.
It was supposed to be.
That's because Scott's built.
Listen, no, it hurt. That's why. It was supposed to be a branch with the dogs' names around it. He started. I was like, yeah, no, I think we're done.
Scott said, I'm getting a tree. I said, I see a twig.
Oh, yeah, you did
twig.
the ribs. Oh, Scott, that's a painful one, man. That's a really painful one, I hear.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But the twig is cute. Okay, wait. You've been in so many great roles. We got a little game called Ask Milo.
Yes.
So I love it. Here we go. Gilmore Girls is celebrating its 20th anniversary. Tell us about landing this role. What do you remember most?
It was huge. You know what I remember most? I remember my mother's reaction.
Aww.
So I went in was some kind of like recurring something. I wasn't really sure. And I guess I made such an impression on Amy Sherman Palladino and Dan Palladino that they brought me on as a regular. And my mom's reaction, I called her up. And this is after I knew I had the job and I knew I was going to be a regular. And I called my mom and said, hey, Mom, so I had an audition for Gilmore Girls. And she goes, oh, I love that show. I go, yeah. She goes, how'd it go? I go, it was great. I got the part. She goes, oh, you're going to be on an episode. I'm like, yeah, a couple more. Oh, so like a small arc? You're doing like a small arc? I'm like, no, Mom, they made me a regular. And it was just silence. My mom didn't say anything. And I knew how exciting that was for her, that her baby boy was going to be on a show that she absolutely loved already. So, yeah, landing that role was great for my mom, great for me. But also I felt like that was a real education for acting. I think that was a cadence of speech that I wasn't quite used to, and the speed of everything and the prose and how Amy writes her scripts. It was such an education. You know
what? We just talked to Adam Brody. Adam Brody told Scott and me it was the best written show still to this day. He's gone on to do all these things that he's ever had.
I agree. It's up there. I mean, Amy's writing is phenomenal. Dan Palladino, her husband, his writing's phenomenal. I mean, look at what they're doing with Maisel.
Right.
It's groundbreaking, beautiful, inspiring, but also like hits that internal chord that I think like This Is Us hits.
Yep.
Where there are these situations of humanity that you're feeling, you're experiencing, and it's able to transcend and go beyond just the entertainment and actually like touch the audience. I think it's really important for the arts.
Well, speaking of touching the audience, your breakout role,
the biggest one,
as party guest number one. What show was your party guest number one appearance?
Oh, Scott, come on, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah. I mean,
Bro. Bro, 1995. I mean, did you guys notice? Like, yeah, the overalls, the open vintage shirt, the T-shirt. Look at that hair.
Oh my goodness.
Although I feel like I kind of have the same hairstyle right now, ish.
It works, brother.
Yeah, ish.
Oh, that is sensational. Okay, what about this? 2006, Rocky Balboa. What convinced Sly that you could play his son? Oh.
My crooked mouth. No kidding. It was my crooked mouth. So what I'd heard before I took the meeting, I'd heard that I wasn't right for the role. They were looking for someone kind of bookish and like that kind of guy. And I went, I can be bookish. I'm an actor. I can absolutely be bookish. Right. So I went in, button down shirt, and there were a bunch of guys in there auditioning in like these, kind of tough looking hoodie, like he's going out to run and box in the gym. And I just went looking bookish because that's what my job as an actor. And when Sly saw that tape, apparently that he brought me in because he wanted to meet me. And I think there were a few other guys that were up for the role. And he and I were just talking, and we were laughing about something. I can't even remember what. And he just looks at me. And then he turns to the casting director and goes, wow, his lip. It even hooks down like mine does.
The lip.
And I guess that was his nod to the casting directors that I was the guy for the job. And then later on, Sly told me that one of his daughters has a little bit of a crooked mouth, and he always wondered if that was more genetics than anything, because we both have these crooked mouths.
Oh, and speaking of his daughter, Scott and I just interviewed him.
Unwaxed.
The best new podcast called Unwaxed. Have you listened? They're wild, Milo.
I haven't, but I mean, what's wild is to see. I mean, back when I was doing Balboa, I mean, they're just these, little peewee kids, and then they grow up and they have a presence, and I've bumped into them in the last few years, and to see what they're doing, like they're good people.
They're awesome.
They're absolutely, both their mother and their father combined. I'm really excited for them. They're really great people.
Milo, I'm going to ask you a question, and I hope I don't get in trouble for asking.
Oh,
but
good.
This interview and other interviews of ours have made me think about this for some time. Have you given any thought to, or are you a guy who thinks about what life might be for yourself with your own family, like creating and having your own family one day, maybe one day soon? Is that something that you think about?
Scott, I love you, dude. One day soon.
I mean,
First of all, I always ask the baby stuff. I'm rubbing off on Scott.
Yeah, I know, right? The hard questions. I don't know. I mean, all I know is, I put a lot of time into my work. I definitely care for it like I would a kid. I think I'd be a great dad, but at the same time, I don't know if it's for me or not for me. I don't know. I think maybe I get a little so focused on work and whatnot that sometimes my personal life, and this is a fault of mine, sometimes my personal life just kind of takes a back seat, and I don't really consider it. And then every year marches forward, time marches forward, and I'm like, oh wow, 43, But at 43 now, like my life is different than how I would have imagined it when I was younger. But it doesn't diminish it any less. It doesn't make me feel like I'm missing out on anything. Not having a family or not having kids or not being married or anything like that. So I don't know, man. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Life is long.
It really is.
You're 43, but you look 27.
Exactly.
I don't know. Maybe it's just
and
me.
the hair game is strong for
Thanks,
Milo
man.
right there. This is premieres tonight on
hair's dark.
NBC
Like I said,
at 9.
at the beginning, let's say in March when quarantine first hit and everybody was staying home. I mean, I was blonde, no facial hair, nothing. I was looking incredibly different, almost like, well, no, not quite like that. I was gonna say Jared Leto in Fight Club, but not like that.
Milo, great seeing you. Tell all your friends, all the cast that we say hello.
Good to see you, brother.
This is so our jam.
I will, absolutely.